Maintenance personnel are relied upon to keep organizations moving, and it's a demanding job. Maintenance people must enter all work areas. Therefore, they may be exposed to many different types of potential hazards. Maintenance professionals understand the need for safety and obey basic safety procedures such as wearing safety glasses, not wearing gloves or rings around moving equipment, and always assuring guarding is on machinery when the equipment is operating. Maintenance persons and other employees are never allowed to stand under equipment or material raised by hoist or cranes, and they always use welding equipment safely. Let's quickly review some very important additional safety responsibilities you have as a maintenance person. The safe use of hand and power tools is a basic responsibility, and defective tools are taken out of service until repaired or replaced. As we look back on injury experiences, one frightening thought comes clearly in focus. Hand and power tools cause thousands of injuries every year. Everyone uses hand and power tools, at work and at home, and even the simple screwdriver causes over 100 deaths each year. The first rule for hand and power tool safety is to use equipment that is in safe, serviceable condition. Regardless of who provides the tools and equipment, you are your employer. All tools and equipment must be in good, serviceable condition. Defective equipment must be taken out of service and not used until they are repaired or replaced. Most wrench accidents are caused by the wrench slipping off the bolt or nut you're trying to turn. Knuckles and fingers bang into surfaces, causing minor injuries. When you're turning something with a wrench, be prepared for the wrench to slip so the injury can be prevented. If you're prepared, you'll prevent the injury. When using long-handled wrenches, position your feet and body in such a manner so that if the wrench slips, you won't take a fall. Another safety tip is to make sure the wrench opening fits snugly on the nut or bolt. A loose fit damages the tool and it certainly increases the injury potential. Never try to use metric wrenches on inch fasteners or vice versa. One of the worst safety violations is to use a cheater bar. A cheater bar is something like a pipe placed on the wrench or tool to give you more leverage. Your wrench or tool is designed only for hand pressure, and when you add a cheater bar, you're exceeding the safety design of the tool. Don't use cheater bars. Certainly, there are times when you need to loosen a frozen nut or bolt, and hand pressure won't do it. That's when you need to use a heavy-duty striking tool and some penetrating oil. The striking tool is designed to be hit with a hammer, and will do the job so you don't have to use a cheater bar or other hazardous operations to free that frozen bolt or nut. There are basically three types of socket wrenches and sockets: hand sockets, power sockets, and impact sockets. Never mix the different types. In other words, don't use a hand socket on an impact wrench. Each type is designed for a specific wrench, and when you use the wrong socket, you can easily damage the wrench or socket. If you're using an impact wrench, use only impact sockets designed for the job. Adjustable wrenches are very versatile, and they're used for a variety of jobs. One of the major causes of injuries with adjustable wrenches is using damaged wrenches. When the adjustable threads become worn or the surfaces on the inside of the jaw become rounded from use, the tool is unsafe to use. Replace the damaged tool with one in serviceable condition. It may seem like a simple solution, and it is, but adjustable wrenches that are worn out should be replaced. The same basic rule applies to bench vices. When the jaws of the vise become worn, it's time to replace the jaws. You don't have to replace the entire vise, just the worn jaws. Another tip for bench vices is to make sure they are securely fastened to the work table or bench. Power tools and equipment require special attention because when an injury does occur, it's usually very serious. There isn't any room for error on powered equipment. Before you use any power tool, inspect it to make sure it's in good condition and has no defects or safety hazards. If your power equipment uses cutting blades, drilling bits, or other such attachments, make sure they are sharp and in good condition. Dull blades and bits can cause damage to the material you're cutting and can also contribute to personal injury. Be sure all your equipment is in proper working order. Electrical tools have at least one safety device to protect the user from electrical shock. This safety device is called grounding and in some cases double insulation. Let's review grounding because this is the most common protection on electrical tools and appliances. Grounding means there's a third wire in the tool running through the third prong in the plug. There's a grounding wire or connection from the electrical power source or receptacle that goes to earth or ground. In the event of an electrical short or other malfunction of the tool, electricity will flow through this ground to earth and not through your body. If the ground prong is broken off, or the ground wire is broken, or there's a gap in the electrical ground, the electricity will have nowhere to go except through the person holding the tool. This tells you that it's very important to inspect your electrical equipment for defects before you use the equipment. Some tools afford you shock protection by double insulating the inside of the tool. In the event of a short or other malfunction, the operator is protected by this double insulation. You may notice some electrical tools that have only 2 prongs on the electrical plug. The first thing you should do is check the manufacturer's data plate for the words double insulated. If you see an electrical tool with only 2 prongs and the tool does not state it is double insulated, then do not use this particular tool until it is replaced or repaired for the proper ground. Regardless of the type of shock protection on your electrical tool, it won't help if you're using the equipment near water, liquids, or other unsafe conditions. Sweaty palms or perspiration when using electrical tools is also as unsafe as a wet or moist environment and is extremely hazardous around electricity. Another good tip is never carrying any equipment by the electrical cord. Yanking cords out of the wall receptacle by the cord is also unsafe. Remove the plug from the wall receptacle by not the cord. When using any type of electrical equipment, always inspect the plugs, cords, cables, and attaching hardware for frays, cracks, cuts, or damage. If it's not safe to use, don't use it. You've all seen or probably used octopus receptacles and plugs to increase the electrical outlets. Don't use octopus plugs. Another safety factor around electricity is using illegal 3-prong adapters. These illegal adapters have 3 prongs for you to insert your grounded plug, but it only has 2 prongs at the electrical receptacle. These types of plugs are unsafe and should never be used in any industrial environment. In fact, they should never be used in your home either. Let's quickly review some more basic safety tips relating to power drills. All drill bits must be sharp in order to drill safely. Dull bits can damage the material or can break and cause a serious injury. Be sure drill bits are sharp and in good condition. When you're drilling, don't use excessive force. If you need a larger drill or some other type of equipment to do the job, that's okay, but don't try to bully a drill bit into material by using excessive force. When you're tightening a drill bit into the chuck, be sure it is properly tightened and never tighten the drill bit with anything other than the proper chuck. If you use screwdrivers or other makeshift chucks, you're asking for trouble. When using portable hand saws, always make sure the guard is in place and working properly. Never remove the guard or tie it back. Mechanical guards are designed for your protection, and it's really unsafe to render any guard inoperable. There is always a safe way to use your equipment. Taking chances, such as using your leg as a workbench, is an accident waiting to happen. It doesn't make sense. Everyone wants to complete their job as quickly as possible, but think about the time off from work that results from an injury. The 10 seconds you save becomes 10 or more hours of lost time. When you're working with hand and power tools, your safety, attitude, and common sense are the 2 most important parts of your job. Your organization can have the most effective safety rules and the best equipment, but if you neglect the attitude part, you're heading for trouble. Recognize the potential hazards of the job, such as sharp edges, falling objects, extreme heat or cold, chemicals, flammables, and electricity. Follow the safety rules even if you've gotten away with shortcuts before. In the event of an injury, even a minor one, report it to your supervisor when it occurs, so medical attention can be provided if it's needed. Use personal protective equipment when necessary, and think about safety on every job you perform.